Hey everybody, and welcome to Cut, Transform, Glue. So as you can see in the photos, I finished the laser combat robot. This is a project that came out super quick and it was very fun to make. In this week's video, I'll explain you guys the techniques that I've used to paint this robot, and also I'll explain you all the choices I made, especially when it comes to the camo. But before I do that, let me just make a quick recap of this robot. So the legs for this project, they came from the Drone Dog build, a four-legged robot that I've been working to make as a kit. And during the making of that kit, I discovered that it worked well with just two legs. And from there, I went and I made the waist for this new two-legged robot using a Scotch tape dispenser as a basic structure. From there I went to the body. I've used some cool gribblies and a piece of plywood. This is a new technique that I just tried in this project. And I really think you guys should check the first video if you want to see all of that process in great detail. Now from this point forward, this is all new stuff, and off camera I did some detailing of the robot. I mean, I've ended the previous video having the legs still to be worked on, and yeah, so I did some detailing of the leg and some other pieces. As you guys can see right here, I primed it all, and now this is all ready to be painted. Off camera, I also prepared these pieces right here. So this is a laser combat robot, of course, and because of that I decided to use some DVD reader pieces on the laser Canon. So off camera I prepared these two 3D printed pieces, kind of following the measurements from the lenses that I have, and once I finish painting the model, I'll take care of these two pieces. I'll save these for the end of the video. I also made these metal pieces right here. These are some protection rails, and I'll install them after the painting process. And so here we have a nice collection of lollipops, and for this project I'll also try the one layer chipping technique. This is also a video here in the channel. So this right here is a deep red primer. This one right here is a black matte paint. So my idea right here is to apply these two colors to the pieces and kind of create a primer, a rusted primer effect to all of the pieces, and then I can chip the paint, the acrylic paint on top of it, showing these beautiful colors underneath it. This is what I call the lazy chipping effect that I decided to try for this project. But I know this can be kind of confusing, so let me show you guys the technique in detail. So as you guys can see, I didn't fully coated the pieces on these two new colors. I just gave them some speckles of colors, and this is the idea, to keep it uneven and to have some color differences throughout the piece. And I also painted my hands on the process. Now for the colors of this robot, I as always I went freestyle, and this means that I mixed a paint, this light yellow, kind of greenish yellow. I'm not even sure how to call it, but anyways, this is how I like to make it. I mix the first paint, and from there I go mixing some other colors that I think look well alongside it, and this is what I did, and I ended up with these three beautiful colors right here. Okay, so now the first step right here is to apply this light olive color, this base color, to all of the pieces, and so this is what I did. As I work with water-based acrylic paint that is very runny, it took me a little while to cover all of the pieces with the base color. I work with lots of airflow and very little paint flow in my airbrush. So yeah, it took a little while, but I got all of the pieces covered in the first coat of paint. Now I'll start working on the camouflage. And in this one, I'll do my favorite type of camouflage, which is like a polygon camo. This is the same one that I did for my first combat robot, and the only difference being that it is way greener than this second one right here. And I know that I just showed you guys these three colors right here, and I already changed my plans. I made this lighter green right here that I've applied to the side. So yeah, this is what I mean when I say that I go kind of freestyle with the colors. I just follow my gut, and I change stuff whenever I feel like it. But now I'll go back to my original idea and I'll apply the dark olive green that I've prepared in the first place. And again, as I'm working with masking, I go even more careful. As you guys can see, I use lots of airflow and very little paint flow to avoid the leaking of the paint underneath the masking tape. Now I'll go with the detail part of the camouflage, which is this red color right here, and these are the smallest shapes on this camo. You know, when I'm editing my videos, I wonder, why am I so slow sometimes? But anyways, now that this piece has the four colors of the camo, I can start working on the chipping. Now, I know this is probably not usual, but this is how I like to make my chipping. When the paint is still kind of fresh, I go with some alcohol and some sharp tools and I chip the paint. Sometimes it can happen that I kind of take too much out of the color, as you guys can see right here on the red shape, but this is totally okay. And also you gotta be careful because the alcohol will start spreading the paint on your model, so yeah, you gotta be careful about that. But in my opinion, the time it takes to do this chipping is worth it. I mean, I do it super quick. I mean, compared to making like multiple coats of varnishes. Now this right here is the body of the robot, and I saved this for last because this is the most important piece of the whole project, and I really gotta spend some time with it and make it perfect. But also this is the biggest piece, and a lot of time will be spent masking this one. So yeah, let's time lapse it. Now let me just show you guys something right here. As you guys can see, the masking that I do is not the best. I mean, most of these lines will be chipped, and so I don't spend a lot of time making the best masking out there. So yeah, this is just something that I like to show you guys. Now let's cut to the chase, and this right here is the body of the robot with all 4 colors of the camo. And as I just said a couple of minutes back, I don't do the best masking job out there, and this is because of the chipping. So yeah, this is what I'll do right here. I'll chip most of this paint. So yeah, let's get to it. I usually start the chipping with a Q-tip and some alcohol. Q-tips are the best when it comes to making some delicate chips on the paint. Really, you can really rub it against the fresh paint, and it will take a while to remove some paint. So yeah, this is the most forgiving one. And then I'll usually move on to some rag. And now rags are kind of a bit more aggressive, so as you guys can see, you just rub it and it already removes some big chunks of paint. So yeah, this is for the deeper wear spots on the robot. When chipping your model, you gotta really think about the storytelling that the chipping effect will add to your project. So you gotta think about if this is a real robot and it moves around, where does it bump, where are the spots that will have the most wear, let's just say that. So for instance, right here I have the laser cannon, and it has the ability to kind of swivel around just a bit, and so to enhance that feel of movement, I'll make some round chips right here on this spot. Nothing too crazy, I'm just holding my tool against the axle of the laser cannon, and I'm creating some round, perfectly round chips on the paint. This is a very simple idea that really adds to the storytelling of the robot and makes it look more real, in my opinion. And as I just said, I usually start with the smallest chips, and then I move to the rag with some alcohol, which removes a lot of paint from the model. And this right here is the result. I really like it, and I feel it adds to the robot. Now, it was at this point that I had this crazy idea to add this color right here, like the 5th color of this camouflage. I don't know, I just looked at it and I had it lying around with my other paints, and I feel it really could add to the model. And it doesn't even matter that I just did the chipping, because I can re-chip it. So yeah, as there are no clear coats on the top of the paint, I just have to redo the chipping on the top of it. Okay, so now let's finally start the wash process. Let's add some oil wash to this model. So I'll just mix a couple of oil paints, and I'll thin it down, making it real runny, and then I'll apply it to the model with a brush and clean most of it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that before I start the wash process, I actually apply a coat of glossy varnish to all of the pieces of the project. And I have to do that to protect the water-based paint from the solvent of the oil wash. And so this right here is the result on the first piece, and this is how dirty I need it to get. So yeah, I'll do the same thing to all of the other pieces. Okay, so now without pausing the video, I just want to take a moment right here to invite you guys to my Patreon page. On Patreon, starting with $3, you'll be able to help me keep going and to help this channel to keep growing. So if you like what you saw here in this channel and you want to help me keep going, please check the links on the description box. Let me also use this moment to thank my Patreon and my Ko-fi supporters. I love you all. Thank you so much for the amazing support. This channel is only possible because of you. Now back to the video, and as you just saw, I signed my model with CDG22, and then I applied a coat of matte varnish to all of the pieces, and they're all ready. The light green parts you see on the foot of the robot and on the waist are the 3D printed ball joints that I don't want to get any paint on it to avoid messing with the tolerances. So yeah, this is why I'm keeping the ball joints in either the original color or with just a coat of primer. Okay, so now let's get to the cherry on the top of the cake, which is the laser cannon. So as I just showed you guys in the beginning of the video, I made these two 3D printed pieces right here with the measurements of some DVD reader lenses. I also painted them, did some wash and applied a coat of the matte varnish. Now I just have to add the lenses to make this thing complete. So here are the lenses and pieces that I've chose for this project, and now I just gotta install them in place. So this tiny one goes right here. It is a snug fit, as you guys can see. And on the side of that goes this one right here, this beautiful golden metal piece with a tiny lens on the front of it. And now let me just quickly install the other three lenses to the second piece. I really gotta be careful right here because I'm using some CA glue to keep the 3D printed pieces in place, and the CA glue can really fog the lenses. So yeah, I'm using as little as possible to keep it in place. And this second one right here is so snug fit that no CA glue is required. And of course, I also got the protection materials. One for the top of the laser cannon and one for the front of the robot, following the angle of the gribbly, the air vent gribbly. And so now let's just go ahead and put everything together. Now, different from the sniper spaceship project, in this one I avoided as best as I could using some nuts and bolts to put everything together, and so most of the pieces are snug fit. And now of course there are just a couple of bolts for each leg because they need to be posable. So yeah, this is what I'm using right here. These are the only screws, nuts and bolts that I used on this project. There is no particular reason to avoid using the nuts and bolts in a project, but every time you do that, you gotta take care and hide them. So yeah, you guys can see that on each axle of each leg there's a tiny piece that I had to make and paint to hide the bolt. Let's not forget the side radar thing right here to the front of the robot, and also I almost forgot the antenna that goes on the top right here with a bit of sea glue. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wasn't expecting this project to come out as fast as it did. I'm very happy with the end result, and I tested new techniques in this one, so yeah, I couldn't be happier. But this is not the end, because this one will also get a diorama. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this project, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.